people should know who's behind all this. And that was something I said, well, that'd be a great opportunity. And he took the time to even to think about coming on. He said, okay, sure. And I was surprised because a lot of times all the work they do, they're kind of busy. And the person I'm talking about is John Peterson III.
All right.
Very interesting to know the vision they have for this area.
Yeah. How are you, Mr. Peterson?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and talk to the Suffolkians about what's happening up here in northern Suffolk. Now, we want to thank Hampton Roads Crossing for allowing us to come and film here today.
Yes.
It's a very great establishment, very great neighborhood. I mean, it's built out, so it almost basically connects to the Kroger
It does.
spot over here.
It does.
Can you tell us about what's going on up here with the Kroger spot? I mean, with the Kroger store and the whole development up here?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure, and I appreciate the opportunity. Our company, as you mentioned, acquired this site in 2006. And it's 2016, so these are not short-term investments.
Sure.
But we're not a short-term company. We invest in regions and we invest in communities for the long term, and that's both financial investment as well as trying to create a community and to enhance a community. So this project, which, like I said, we acquired in 2006, the land itself, we actually had this zoned in the original mixed-use development overlay. And what that is supposed to mean is that there's a big push in the development world to allow people to live in the same place that they work and shop in the same place that they live and to recreate in the same area where they live, so that there's not this dependence upon traveling all around the region. So we conceived this community to be very much that, a walkable, livable, 365-day-a-year type of community where you can live here in the residences, you can shop over in the relatively new Kroger shopping center, you can work over in the MAST Center where the Modeling and Simulation Center is headquartered. You ultimately will be able to go to school at Old Dominion University's facility there. So the idea is that you can live, shop, work, learn all in the same area. So that's kind of the original concept of Hampton Roads Crossing. It weathered a little bit of a downturn that we all experienced in this economy. We took probably 2 or 3 years to pause on the retail development as we let the economy come back. It's to the city of Suffolk's credit and to this location's credit, this was one of the first major shopping centers that was built after the recession. Mm-hmm. So in areas, these retailers have a lot of areas they can potentially locate. They locate where growth is coming. They locate where municipalities are welcoming to them. I mean, that's a really important part. And they locate where they have a physical layout that works. So we were fortunate that we had all three of those things. There's no doubt that the city of Suffolk, both the council and economic development department, have been instrumental in attracting the type of retail and commercial uses that we have here. And so we're just pleased to see, after a long time coming, that it's really starting to take shape. It kind of feels like a true neighborhood and a true community.
Well, speaking of the shopping center, if I'm watching and I do not know what is up here, that's real quick.
Well, the original anchor, of course, is the Kroger Marketplace, and Kroger has a couple of different types of stores. This is their largest one, and this is a I call it a grocery store on steroids. It is normal grocery stores are somewhere between 50 and 60,000 square feet. This is 120,000 square feet. It's got grocery, it's got restaurants in it, it has a jewelry store. It is really a destination retail center. That, of course, attracted the other tenants. And the major tenants, who are all now open as of last month, are Petco, Michael's, which was very well received. There's a lot of teachers around here like to use Michael's for arts and crafts. Ross, Ulta, which is a very nice high-end makeup and style store, and then DSW shoes, which everybody knows DSW, and then Five Below, which has got, I feel like my wife shops at Five Below every week for our kids, so it's very well received. And then there's the smaller shops that have come along as well that are going to help round out the shopping center.
All right. And real quick, are there some out parcels?
There are. Okay. One of the most popular ones that has already opened is Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And they were one of the original restaurants that was interested in the out parcels along College Drive. We didn't really understand the phenomenon of Texas Roadhouse. And when we went to the grand opening, which Councilman Ward was there, they opened at 4:30 and we got there at 3:45 and there was a line forming out the door. So clearly this was something where the population really wanted this kind of restaurant. There's a Zaxby's next door to that, and then there's a oil change and the kind of the automotive center down at the other end. And there's actually a car wash coming too, and that'll open hopefully in the fall.
All right. Well, we talked about up here, some other things are coming. Can you stay along and talk about it next time?
Please, I welcome the opportunity.
Okay, and we will be right back.
If home is where your heart is, shouldn't your dollars be here too? You might think you're getting a better deal down the road when shopping at home actually makes more sense. Why waste gas and time driving everywhere when you can shop here in the place you call home? Your tax dollars stay in the local community, paving roads, building schools, making a better, safer town to raise our families in. That's one big way we can all make a difference in our town. Shop at home where your dollars make sense.
And we are back. We was talking, you was saying how important this whole concept with mixed use is. And you was giving us the kind of the outline of what's going on with Hampton Roads Crossing, with the residential, and then with the shopping center, and then with possibly working at the VMAS, and all that good stuff, and a walking community, as our comp plan says here in Suffolk. So what else is going on in this northern Suffolk corridor with your group?
Well, the great thing about the North Suffolk corridor is the access not only to within North Suffolk, but from anywhere else in the region. Well, that's really what drew us to North Suffolk, is that while we want to create a community here and want to help to enhance the community here, the reality is a lot of people live and work in different places. Sure. And so there are certainly plenty of people that live in North Suffolk and work elsewhere. You can get to the Peninsula in no time. You can get to downtown Suffolk in no time. You can get to Greenbrier in no time, and certainly now with the new Midtown Tunnel, you can go through that way and get downtown Norfolk very quickly. So that is a draw to this area. What we're seeing is that there is additional demand for residential, and multiple forms of residential. Any good community has to have residential opportunities for all different parts of the spectrum. So you got to be able to house first-time home buyers, young people. I mean, young people are critical to the vibrancy of an area. What we're hearing from some of our retail tenants is they want to see more of those rooftops, no doubt. Now, clearly we specialize in building residential, so it's a little bit self-serving, but it definitely, we're hearing it from the retailers that they want to see additional population growth in this region. So we've got a couple of projects that we're working on over on the other side of 664 as well, that we're hoping will add additional rooftops, additional population, additional vibrancy to the area. One of them that's under construction now is called Sunfall at the riverfront. It's one of the last parcels within the riverfront development, and it is a variety of products, some townhomes, which can sort of kind of capture that maybe first-time home buyer group. Then there's some detached single-family homes that are off the river that are brand new, but at a slightly lower price point than the rest of riverfront. And then there's going to be some lots that are out on the riverfront. They're literally right on the river, looking at the river, that are going to be gorgeous, and inevitably those will end up being higher end
Sure.
homes. So right even within that little development, there's 3 different product types, and that's kind of our goal, is to make sure that our residential communities are have a bunch of different price points, so that all parts of the community are welcome, and that we create kind of that life to them, that there's a lot of people around and there's a lot of activity. We have 2 more projects that are in the works right now, and they'll be in front of the Planning Commission and Council here soon, that are hopefully going to add some additional residential development that are going to be a combination of some townhouses and some apartments, and even a little bit of additional retail.
Mr. Peters, I want to ask, normally when you all have these projects, normally you go into the community and see, talk with them, let them know what's going on, so see how to take of it. Explain that to us.
I appreciate you mentioning that. We are very sensitive to the fact that people live in the community already, and as developers and builders, there's always a little apprehension about what we may be doing. So our first step in any of these processes is to go meet with the existing community. In the riverfront, that's been relatively easy because we've already built several projects in the riverfront. So we've been able to go talk to our own previous home buyers, explain to them what we're proposing to do, explain to them why. A lot of the homeowners want the vibrant retail. They want, the new shops and the new stores. But they sometimes don't realize that requires additional rooftops. Right. Once you explain it to them, everybody gets it. But to your point, it requires us to spend significant amounts of time to explain what we're doing, explain why we're doing it, explain the quality, but also to listen.
Yeah.
Listen to those homeowners. Listen to what they have to say about what they want to see, what they don't like, what they do like. Is it always a neat, clean, easy process? Not at all. I mean, it's somewhat of a messy process as we go through it, but ultimately we come out at the other end with a better development, more, happier neighbors, and less, more support when we're coming in front of Planning Commission and Council, so that you're not hearing negatives, you're hearing support. That's clearly our goal.
Speaking of more residential, but with this understanding that you're trying to create more walkable neighborhoods, where, even when you bring in a lot of residential homes with retail and jobs and things that close, you want to be walking, there is always the elephant in the room of traffic. Sure. So how do you all handle the traffic question, especially with Bridge Road and everything?
Well, the key for us is that we try to find property that is already has a transportation network in place. It's not always easy to do in a growing city like the city of Suffolk. There's capital needs to put transportation plans in place. We understand that. What we've been able to do, and part of the reason why I think we've had some success here and some success over in the riverfront and Harborview, is that there's a very substantial transportation network that's already existing. So that is designed to handle exactly what we're building. So what we try not to do is put in a neighborhood in the middle of somewhere where the transportation network doesn't exist. And to the city's credit, the city of Suffolk has an excellent planning department, works well with Planning Commission and with City Council to create the comprehensive development plans that kind of dictate where, and not dictate's the wrong word, suggest where development ought to go based upon transportation, utility services, school capacity, things like that. So we pay very close attention to that. We actually work with the city of Suffolk. We consult with the city of Suffolk to try to make sure that those plans are realistic and achieve kind of everybody's goals.
I want to ask this question. I know time's running short. Do you think Northern Suffolk's been left behind?
Northern Suffolk's been left behind?
Yeah.
I think that it was a little bit of a longer time coming than maybe it should have been. We had developed in North Suffolk and the riverfront area before, so we kind of saw it. Candidly, we bought this piece of property at Hampton Roads Crossing, at a time where I was kind of surprised that the owners sold it to us, because we thought this is the next best thing. I mean, this is where development ought to go. So we were very fortunate that they sold it to us. We paid a certain, a good price for it. But I think that there was a little bit of a lack of recognition of some of the transportation capabilities within North Suffolk. What we talked about before, the fact that you can get anywhere from here is really, really important. What we did is we actually put a pencil right on this piece of property. We took a line and took a radius of about 6 or 7 miles around, and this is one of the most centrally located areas in all of Hampton Roads. So has it been overlooked? Maybe, but some of this has been forthcoming. 164 in the Midtown Tunnel, that adds that transportation node. 664, that exploded the possibilities. So it may have been a longer time coming than it should have, but I think that this is now going to be looked at and is looked at as the primary growth area in Hampton Roads.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know it would be interesting just to see the vision that they had when they was talking about the transportation, how to get to 64, then venture to 95, all this type of stuff. There's so much things can be built here that the traffic wouldn't be as big as a problem like going to the beach or whatever like that. So I look for great things in the future in this area.
Mr. Peterson, thank you for taking time, talking to our viewers, and
thank you.
Mr. Ward and I. And no, Northern Suffolk hasn't been left behind. You all doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.